So I keep channeling the word isekai, which is like, I had to look it up, obviously, but it's like a genre of like anime and manga. So it basically means different worlds. A protagonist is transported to, reincarnated in like a parallel universe, fantasy realm. Okay. So what I was getting from this is that like, so this may be confirmation for you that the trajectory that your life is taking, uh where you end up, you may for a while feel like a fish out of water. So there's this sense of like, I don't know, you may literally be moving somewhere where like people speak differently. They could speak a whole different language, or if you're like in the south and you move north, obviously people like have a different accent. Okay. uh it's just something to where there's a whole like, you know you're moving into a space that is like culturally and like visually sort of like, I don't know. It was only something that you could perceive, I don't know, like on television or reading it through books or in pictures. Like it's not something that you've visibly witnessed before. I'm getting that you will adapt to this. There's something about that genre that has something to do with like the protagonist gaining immense overpowered abilities. Okay, so if you are a spiritual practitioner or something like that, or you just know you have spiritual abilities, I'm getting that like you going to this place is going to increase them substantially in some way. But yeah, this is getting an actual like physical change in regards to like your environment. Like even if you say you stay in the same state, okay, um it's giving like, this is just an example, okay, it's giving like somebody who was born and raised in like they grew up in like a trailer park and they've only kind of been in that community and only like experienced that sort of lifestyle or whatever, and that has like a certain energy and culture attached to it. And then suddenly they are, they, not suddenly, but whatever, I don't know, just an example, say they like marry into wealth somehow, and then all of a sudden they like, I don't know, live in a big ass house. They have chefs, they have people who like clean their house for them, they have a driver, you know what I mean? And like they are surrounded by luxury items, and like, you know they go to restaurants they didn't even know existed, right? I don't know, they don't even have to, like, maybe this person never even like went to an airport and got to fly before, and now they're flying private, you know what I mean? So it's like, even if some things are the same, it's giving like it's going to be just very different. But a key aspect of this is like starting over completely in some way, which can be hard to let go of things that seem safe or comfortable, right? But you know how you always like hear about, I guess especially rappers, it's just like when I'm thinking of who will like, they'll like make it, but then they'll go home to where they came from, you know, and then like something bad happens to them, right? You're gonna have to like resist the urge to try to like be like, no, I haven't changed, I like need to still be humble and like not forget where I came from, blah blah blah. But I'm getting that you need to like fully immerse yourself in this new reality. Like you can't really go back to the way things were before. And like, regardless of this shift, because it could just be like a mindset shift. I don't know, because I'm getting that it's like physical, right? It could just be like a mindset shift that you've had that will like manifest in a physical materialization of like a completely different reality. You know what I mean? And even if like you remain in an environment where the people speak the same language, it's giving like the vocabulary is different. Like if you've grown up in a space of like in survival mode. And this doesn't just have to be like wealth related, because it can kind of be the thing of like, oh, you know the same thing is like, uh there's a difference if you go to like, hold on, you know how if you like go into corporate, they have their own like language that they kind of speak there, but it's just similar because I'm more familiar with academia or whatever. um if you go into those spaces, there is like sort of a different like vernacular, like kind of like speak a different language. There's like a certain like, I don't know, is phraseology actually a word or whatever, but like just like the way that people articulate themselves is like fundamentally different. So it does kind of feel like you are learning a different language, to where, if you did go back to those old spaces, the people would be like, why are you talking like that? What does that mean? You know, it could even be something to do with like, you know how like doctors too, they just like it's or like shorthand, like learning a shorthand way of speaking or something like that. It's just getting like everything down to the way that you, and I'm not getting that it's fake. It's just due to the shifts in energy and like the literal shifts in location, you are just going to change, right? You are going to sort of seamlessly adapt to the culture that you enter, whether that's, I don't know, you going from being a civilian to, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, being like a doctor or something like that. Or if you are literally going from one country to another, or like one state to another, because, there can be, or even just like one community to another. But it's giving like some major like paradigm shift. And like to go back to, I guess, the, I don't know, it's giving sort of the energy of like, say if you like play video games, right? And then there's like the character creation aspect of it, and some people, they like to like try to make the same character in every game that they play, right? Or like, as much as they can, but obviously, say if you take a character that you created in like, hold on, I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know, if you play more sort of like army type games, like, I don't know, first person shooters, and then you try to like replicate that character. I know they don't really have character creation that much in them, but like, and then you try to take that same character and apply it to more like a fantasy, it's sort of like the whole wardrobe that they have available to them is different. Like, you can try to model the face, relatively the same, but like, you know what I mean, like the environment that they exist within, and like maybe the way that they speak and the way that they act, and obviously like the contents, or like the objectives of said game are like fundamentally different. And I'm getting that for a lot of you, you may have literally been essentially like, again, living in a state of survival. So, the things you had to worry about were, um, making enough to pay your rent, or like if you're like younger, um, I don't know. It could be something as simple as like going from being, younger, and then like entering into a space where you're like leaving home and stuff like that. But I'm getting it's like more significant than that. You're not just going to be moving into something like adjacent to the way of life that you had before. Um, it's going to be a bigger difference than just going from like living with somebody and like your family to living alone. It's going to be like the quality of life itself is just going to be like different. Like, honestly, it's heavily giving like the climate is going to be fundamentally like different than where you used to live before. Like, the trees that you see outside aren't going to be the same, so it could just be, that could apply to like east coast to west coast, so where you live around like palm trees and something like that. But it's giving something like that to where, like, I don't know, the wildlife that where you are moving is going to be different. The way people act are different, like the way of life is different. But for a lot of you, it's giving like going from a place of survival mode, and like your objectives just being, things that you need to do to get by, in order, and like it's going to switch to like, oh, my new objective is, I don't know, becoming fluent in this language, or like, I don't know, uh, getting better at doing my own nails, or like curating a new wardrobe, or like focusing on your fitness journey, or like your health in some way and optimizing your health, or like learning how to give massages, or like being able to finally like up your like cooking game, you know what I mean? It's just like it's giving more like the side quests that you have will be less like dire and less dramatic, and less like, oh, my car broke down, or like, oh, I need to fix this, this, and this. And it's going to be more of like fun based side quests, and like the things that you will be doing and participating in, and the goals that you have will be more of like um, things that will be directly adding to your overall fulfillment, as opposed to just like maintaining a base level of survival, if that makes sense. So it's like you're actually going to be like able to, on a daily basis, like be making progress towards things that actually make you happy, again, instead of just doing things that you need to in order to like survive. And it may feel unfamiliar at first, but you wouldn't have made it to that space if you weren't like meant to be there. And you are meant to be in that space. So, just like give yourself some time to adapt, but you will adapt the more you immerse yourself in that environment. Okay.